Hello everyone, thank you for joining today's webinar. Today we are going to focus on how to monetize your Gear applications and integrating IAP with web APIs. Here are the few housekeeping items. If you have any questions for the presenters, please post them in Q&A box and we will answer them at the end of this presentation. If you have any technical issues during the webinar, please send a comment in Q&A box for assistance. This session is being recorded and will be shared with the presentation slides on the Samsung developers website. And please don't forget to provide feedback before you leave the session. Your feedback is critical to ensure that we improve these webinars. I'm Kavita Gopalan. I'm part of Samsung Developer Program here in Samsung Mountain View, California. So as I mentioned earlier, we are a Samsung Developer Program. We are based in Mountain View and we support the following SDKs. Samsung Android SDK, Tizen Wearable SDK, and we also support Gear Watch Designer tool and the theme editor. And if you need any help in submitting your application in the Galaxy App Store, or if you need any promotion for your application, please feel free to register in Samsung Developer Program and create a ticket. We are here to support you and we can provide technical assistance for these SDKs. So as you might have already known, Samsung has been the pioneer in the wearable industry. We have released a series of smartwatches right from Galaxy Gear to the latest one, Gear S3. And we also have released Gear Fit series. Just for your information, the Tizen Wearable SDK that is available in public is only to develop the applications for watches, the smartwatches, including Gear S2, Gear S3. But for Fit, the ecosystem is closed. It is only available for partners. So Samsung reaches out to partners and they develop the application for the Gear Fit series. So we have launched 8 models and there are more than 6 million devices that have been sold, and the number of devices are growing really fast. So smartwatch is the fastest growing device in the wearable industry, and global wearable unit forecast has been forecasted that it will be increased to 87 million by 2020. So it is a great opportunity for all the developers out there to create applications for wearable, as the number of devices in the market is growing really fast. These are the key metrics. Estimated install base for Tizen Wearable 2.3 by the end of 2016 was 3 million, and now it's a lot more than that. And the demography is 80% male, who are between 20s to 40s. Number of downloads per device within first 6 months is 8+ apps, and most of them are watch faces. Top markets for Tizen Wearable watch, the Gear S2, Gear S3 is USA, Europe, and Korea. So the recommended price points for watch faces is between 99 cents to $1.99. Promotion in stock picks, typically we keep changing the promotions for the apps for every 2 weeks. The main criteria is brand, usability, number of downloads, and optimized experience for the gear. So there are 3 different kinds of applications that you can develop for Tizen wearable device. First is the watch face. As the name suggests, this is the main default home screen of the watch, and it displays the clock. Instead of just displaying the time information, you can also add your own information. For example, ESPN watch face displays the score. CNN watch face displays the latest headlines. And there are similar use cases which you can develop watch face and add your own information to it. Gear S3 watch face supports full color, always on display, and even you can integrate IAP even in your watch face. Only thing you might have to keep in mind is the watch face has single screen, so you might have to come up with a scenario how to fit the IAP functionality for the watch face. So next is the main application. When the user clicks the home button, it opens the app tray. That's where all the application resides. So for an application, from a developer's perspective, there are a lot of flexibility. An app can have multiple pages, you can have list view and buttons and different kinds of UI components, and it can be scrollable. So this has you can add more functionality for an application. So Gear S3 device, which is our latest wearable device out there in the market, has built-in GPS. It has built-in speaker as well. It also comes in a standalone mode, which has LTE functionality. And you can also integrate IAP in-app purchase features into the application. Apart from this, we also have something called the widget. When the user turns the bezel from the watch face to the right side, that's the widget panel where all the widgets reside. Widget is actually part of an application, but except that it is always visible when the user turns the bezel to the right side. So you can use this widget to provide user with the latest information, which user can consume at a glance. So it also acts like when the user taps on the widget, it will launch your application. So it's a really cool feature to add widgets to your application. So Gear ecosystem growth. Last year we have seen tremendous growth, starting from 2,000 to almost 17,000 apps by the end of February 2016. But as of now, there are more than 30,000 apps available for Gear ecosystem. So this is a really fast-growing market, and it's a great opportunity for the developers who already have their application in the Galaxy App Store, or for new developers to integrate in-app functionality, so you can start generating revenue for yourself. Gear users, this is a comparison between the app downloads between the Gear and the mobile. Gear users have downloaded more apps than when compared with the mobile users. So there has been more than 12,000 app downloads per month per device on the Gear, whereas when you compare to a mobile, it has been less than 2 app downloads per month per device. That shows that wearable users are consuming more applications when compared to mobile users. Success in the Gear app business. So there has been number of premium app purchase that has increased by 300%. Business revenue has increased by 200%, and more than 500,000 app downloads generated per month. So all these are the data published by some third-party companies, as you can see, AppStar and Comp Mobile. Okay, now let's deep dive into the Gear in-app purchase functionality. So here is the overview. So Gear in-app purchase is a Galaxy App service that lets developers to sell digital content inside the application. So revenue share is 70-30 for the third-party developers, but if you have a really good use case and a really good application, you can apply to become a partner with Samsung, and then the revenue share changes a little bit. It supports different kinds of payment methods like credit card, PayPal, and Samsung Pay. Developers can offer variety of content to sell through their application, which can be either paid application or a free application. In-app purchase items. There are 3 different kinds of in-app purchase items that you can sell through your app. It can be a consumable, non-consumable, or a subscription. So at present, the Gear device have to be connected with a mobile phone to complete the transaction. The image on the right is an example of how the in-app purchase transaction flow looks. So when you can have a buy button in your watch face, and when the user clicks it, there is a pop-up that shows on the watch. When the user clicks OK, you can list the number of items that is available for users to purchase. And when the user clicks the actual item to buy, then the platform shows a pop-up to complete the transaction on the phone. That is a general flow that happens while using an in-app purchase using the Gear device. So, in order to sell digital items, developers have to register items in our Samsung seller office. To register items in the seller office, you should first join Samsung seller office if you have not already joined. And developers should register as a commercial seller. So to sell any items through Galaxy App Store, developers should identify himself according to the e-commerce laws. And then once you have become a commercial seller, you can register your application in the seller office. And then you might also have to register the items that you're going to sell through your application. And once you have done all these registration steps, then you can start using the Gear IAP APIs to and decide how the actual purchase transaction logic should work. So this is the IAP Flow, and these are all the components that are available, software components that is available on Gear device as well as on the phone to help finish the transaction process. To use the IAP functionality, the Gear device must be connected to a phone via the Samsung Gear app. There is an InApp Purchase service app on the Gear that acts like an interface between the InApp Purchase client application on the phone and your IAP integrated application. The InApp Purchase in the phone is the client app, and it communicates with the IAP server on the cloud. When the app uses the IAP APIs, it interacts with the IAP Service app on the Gear, which then forwards the request to the IAP client on the phone. The IAP client on the phone provides the checkout interface where the user will be able to select the credit card type and double check the amount, and then he'll be able to do the actual purchase. The results are then updated to the server, which is on the cloud. So these are the prerequisites to start using your IAP APIs. To purchase from the Galaxy apps, the app has to request the following permission in the config.xml file. So http:/tizen.org/privilege/billing is the privilege that should be declared in the config.xml file. And the IAP APIs are supported from Tizen platform 2.3.2. So your app should be supported from 2.3.2 and higher. These are the three main IAP APIs available for developers. First is the get item list. This one will list the number of items available for purchase. The next one is the start payment. This is the one which actually starts the payment process to purchase an item. And then once the user has finished the purchase transaction, you can use the get purchased item list or get purchased item list by IDs to see to get the list of items that has been already purchased. So all these APIs have success callback and the error callback, so you can handle the callbacks accordingly. So this is the page that is available in developer.samsung.com, which has the full list of API reference guide. So you can go there to look into the syntax and all the APIs. IAP service modes. So there are two different kinds of service modes available. First is a commercial mode, that is where the actual transaction happens, and we also offer a test mode which you can use to test your application before actually publishing it in the store. So there are two values, IAP success test mode or IAP failed test mode. So you can use this to make sure your purchase logic works fine. But when you, even if you have set the value to IAP commercial mode and if you are testing it on your emulator, the platform automatically changes the mode to test mode. So these are the different kinds of in-app products that you can sell through your application. Consumable, non-consumable, non-recurring subscription, and auto-recurring subscription. So consumable is like if you purchase a product of this type and used it, it is consumed. So the products cannot be repurchased. For example, bullets in a game is an example for consumable item. Non-consumable item is once the user have purchased it, these products can be repurchased as well. For example, books are non-consumable. And non-recurring subscription. Once a certain period of time has passed after a product purchase, these products can be repurchased. For example, monthly magazines and vouchers with expiration date can be repurchased after a certain period of time. Auto-recurring is it will automatically keep extending. For example, you can sell in-app items every month with automated and recurring billing. So let's go deep dive into the actual IAP APIs and see the syntax and parameters that is available. The first IAP API is the item list, get item list. So the syntax is you can pass in the start number, end number, and you might have to pass the item type, either consumable or non-consumable, and so on, and item mode. And then you will receive, then there is a success callback and an error callback. So based on the error type of error, you can display a UI pop-up accordingly. So this is the example code snippet on how to use this get item list API. So start payment is the actual API which helps to purchase the transaction. As you can see, this is the success callback, and there is an error callback. In this example, we are just displaying the error message, and the last line is how you can actually call the start payment API. So you might have to pass the item ID, item mode, item ID, item mode, and there is a success callback and the error callback. So list of purchased items using the get purchased item list is very similar to the other APIs, except that you might have to pass the date. You might have to pass the start number, end number, and you have to pass the date within which you want to see the list of items that has been purchased by the user. There is another API called the get purchased item list by IDs. Here you can pass the actual ID, actual IDs for which you want to see the history of the items that has been already purchased. So you pass in the item IDs and then you get the success callback, and the optional parameter is error callback. So this is an example of how to handle an error. So if you receive an error, you can process it and show a UI pop-up accordingly so that the user knows there has been some issue while executing the transaction. So there is another important API which you can use. So IAP Service allows a third-party server to verify the validity of a purchase in order to prevent any malicious purchases. The developer can use this verify URL and purchase ID to check if the purchase is a valid purchase or not. So this is the syntax and the actual API. So the last line shows you the actual example of how to call this API. So it's iap.samsungapps.com/iap/apps item verify IAP receipt, and then you might have to provide the purchase ID. And the result will be something like this. So if the purchase is valid, then it will give you the results in the JSON format, which includes the information of item ID, purchase ID, item name, etc. But if it's not valid, you will just receive a status called false. And then you can parse the JSON string accordingly, and you might have to display the UI to the user for all the error use cases. So this is a sample application which we have created for this webinar. So this sample app will be available, we'll be posting the GitHub link in the Samsung developers website along with this presentation. You'll be able to download it and try it. So this is a high-level overview of what this sample app actually does. So there is a welcome page which displays a welcome text and has a play button. So this is an app which simulates like a game application. So when the user clicks on the play button, it opens another page, which we call it as a game page. And here we are just using an image to simulate the game. And there is a button called More button. So when the user clicks on the More button, it opens another page, which gives a list of actual items that is available for purchase. Here we are using 3 different items: remove ads, get more coins, and unlock new level. So when the user clicks on one of the items to buy, it opens the buy screen where there are 2 options, either buy or see the list of purchased items. So when the user clicks the buy button, the Gear device shows a pop-up to finish the transaction on the phone. And on the phone, as you can see, there is a pop-up and which gives you the purchase interface for the users. So when the user clicks continue, it displays the different kinds of payment method available for users to buy it, like Samsung Pay, credit card, PayPal, etc. And the user can choose one of the option and click buy button. And once the transaction is complete, it shows an appropriate pop-up saying the purchase has been completed on both the mobile device as well as the Gear device. So let's see how to create the sample application. As you might already been familiar with the Tizen Gear app development, you might have to download the Tizen SDK and install it on your device. And there is a Tizen Studio, which is the IDE available to develop the web app applications. So the prerequisites is you should have already set up the Tizen Studio, and you might need a Gear S3 watch and an Android mobile phone. And the app should be supported from 2.3.2 platform level and above. So you can create a new Tizen project, and then to make it easy, you can use the already available template, and you can use a Tau basic template. That's the most easy one because it already has all the UI components built in it, and you can just use whatever UI components you need for your application. And you have created, you will have a template web app that is already available now, and you can go ahead and modify your config.xml. So the main important functionality to add here is the privilege for billing. So this is the main privilege that is necessary to use the IAP APIs. So please modify the config.xml as below. And you might have to add the image resources. So these are the image resources that we are using for the sample application. We are just using an icon for add more coins, remove ads, and unlock a new level. And this is the first page. So as you already know, index.html is the file where you might have to specify your UI and modify the UI of the page. So for the welcome screen, we just have a UI content which displays a welcome text. And then for the button, we are using the UI bottom button. So these are all, these UI components are already part of Tizen Advanced UI Framework, the library that comes along with the Tizen SDK. So you can use those UI components. The next page is the game page where we are displaying a background image. So we are using UI content as a UI component and then displaying game image. And similar to the first page, we are using the same UI bottom button to display more icon. So the next page has a list view. So we are having the list view inside the UI content for three different kinds of items that we are showing for the users that is available to purchase. And the next button also has a list view with two options, either buy or purchased items. So when the user clicks on the buy button, that's where the actual purchase logic happens. So remove ads is the non-consumable item that we're using for this sample. More coins is a consumable item, because once the user has used a coin that is consumed, that it cannot be repurchased. You can only purchase a different coin. And unlock new level is an example for subscription. So there is a method called onGetItemList, which is being called when the user clicks the more button. And the get item list function calls the get item list, the actual IAP API. So this one will list these three products that is available for purchase. Here we are setting the IAP mode to test mode, because it's a sample application. We have to test it first before actually publishing it. And when the user clicks on the remove ads in the list, we are calling the start payment API. So there is a function called onBuy non-consume. So when the user clicks on the remove ad, the function that is being called is onBuy non-consume. And inside onBuy non-consume, we are actually calling the start payment, so users can buy the remove ads item. And similarly, when the user clicks on the more coins, there is another function that is being invoked called onBuy consume, because it's a consumable item, and we are using the same IAP API called start payment to complete the purchase transaction for more coins. Similar way, when the user clicks on the unlock new level, we are calling a method called onBuySubs, and we are using the start payment API to finish the purchase transaction to purchase the unlock new level. And in the buy page, as you have seen before, there is another option called purchased items. So when the user clicks on that, we have to display the items that the user has already purchased. So the function that is being invoked when the user clicks on the purchased item is onGetPurchased and we are using the getPurchasedItemList IAP API to just list the items that have been already purchased. So we have to pass the starting item ID, end item ID, and then we need to provide the date within which we want to see the purchased item list. And you have the success callback and the error callback. So that's pretty much it for the actual implementation of IAP APIs in the sample application. So it is very easy. So as I mentioned before, since you have an IAP functionality integrated into your application, you have to become a commercial seller, and then you have to register your application first in the seller office along with the items that is available for the users to buy. So this is the Samsung seller office website. You can select Samsung Gear because this is a Gear application, and this is the page where you actually register your in-app items. So there is a tab on the left side where you can see InApp Purchase, and when you click that, you will get an option similar to this page where you will be able to add all the information about your item, like item ID, item title, item type, either consumable, non-consumable, subscription, etc. And you can input your description of the items and the price, whatever price you want to sell, and you can click save. So it's that easy to register your items that you want to sell through your Gear application. So finally, let's see how the sample application works. So this is the video of how the sample app works. As you can see, there is a game page which has a more button. When the user clicks on the more button, it lists all the items that is available for users to purchase, and it is a page with the scrollable view, and we have 3 list views. So there are 3 options which you are listing in the list view. Yeah, remove ads, get more coins, and unlock new level. And when the user clicks on remove ads, there's two options. And when the user clicks on buy, you can see a pop-up on the phone as well as on the Gear device, and the transaction must be completed on the phone. So now the user will be able to see the purchase interface, which shows different kinds of payment methods available for users to buy. And here we are choosing the credit card option, and we are clicking buy, and that's how the actual purchase transaction will look for the users. And let's see what happens if we click on unlock new level. Similar experience, and the user can click the buy button. And on the phone, user will be able to see that this is a subscription. This is an item that is based on subscription. And when the user clicks OK, he can buy the subscription item using different payment options, either Samsung Pay or credit card or PayPal. Yep. Now for the sample, we are going to choose credit card, and we are just going to buy the item. Once the transaction is complete, the phone shows the pop-up that the purchase has been completed, and you see the corresponding items that has been purchased on the Gear device as well. So that's the sample app, and that's how it works. So that's about the IAP APIs and the sample app. So you can download the sample app, and if you have any questions, as you can see in the links here, this is where you can get the presentation, the sample app, and we are also going to provide you the step-by-step guide along with the screenshots on how to create this sample app using Tizen Studio. You can go ahead and download those resources there. And if you have any questions, please join SDP program, Samsung Developer Program, and create a ticket. We are more than happy to help you. You can also see our past webinars. We have done a series of webinars for Gear device as well as for Samsung Galaxy SDKs. You can go to that page and see the video there. And this is the link to register for the seller office. And so we are having a big developer conference, Samsung Developer Conference, coming up this October, so on October 18th and 19th in San Francisco, and the registration is already open. Please register, and we are looking forward to seeing you there in San Francisco. And for those who are attending this webinar, we have a special discount code called SDP Webinar. SDP is the Samsung short form for Samsung Developer Program. So SDP Webinar, if you use this, you will get 50% off. That is $249 for the conference. So please register for the conference, and it is a unique way to get more information about all the Samsung SDKs that is available and all the Samsung devices available, and you will get an opportunity to talk to Samsung people and Samsung developers over there. See you soon. Bye.